That's a booty hole.
What?
Hey everyone, welcome back to So Well Media. I'm Jedi Mike and here with Jay King, and here we're reviewing season 2 of Gen V. This is a spin-off show from the hit TV show The Boys on Prime Video, and we're going to be giving our non-spoilers review of the entire season, and we'll be uploading our spoiler review once the episodes drop on Thursdays. And we'll give you our up-to-dates on everything posted for the rest of the season as each episode comes out week by week. Now, with the show being a follow up of The Boys and what we left off with The Boys season 4, and now we're here with also the cliffhanger from season 1 of Gen V. We also get returning members of the cast and some members that are noticeably absent due to one of the actors, the character Andre, played by Chase. He passed away, and this particular season, even though he's absent, you feel his presence and impact through all of the characters, and also his death is actually a part of this season, and I think it's done very well in terms of how they write his character and give him a kind of proper send off. But yeah, aside from that, J King, what was just your thoughts on Gen V season 2 non spoiler?
So far, with again how they're picking up from both the end of the first season of Gen V and the last season of The Boys, with everything changing, and again also having to deal with Andre's death because of Chance's death. I was very curious as to how season 2 was going to go, but I think just saying so far, I think that they're doing it in the best way possible in terms of continuing the story of, Homelander now being in control of America, of Godolkin, even though we left the shady business of last season in the past, new shady business has come up and it's starting to affect other characters like Marie and her backstory, as well as the absence of Andre and what it means for every single one of the characters, what it means for Emma, for Kate, for Sam, for Marie, for Jordan, how it impacts them and how they go forward in their lives without him there. Like, his presence, even though he's not physically there, it's still there, especially in the case of his dad, who now has to step up along with our main cast, elevating his character from where he was last season. So it's very interesting, and so far, just from what I can tell you all, this season is definitely going to be something special before we get to the final season of The Boys. Just going off rip saying that.
Yes, because you already seen from the trailers, you have some characters that show up in this season, Starlight, Sister Sage, and other characters as well. But I will say that this show definitely is a good setup season for The Boys season 5. However, it does also expand in terms of the lore that this show established in terms of focusing on these young adults at college at Godolkin University. You actually get expanded on the history of that university, and actually of the founder, Thomas Godolkin. Same thing when we talk about Frederick Vaught in The Boys is same category we find with his character, and in terms of the history of this school, right? That again, they do a really good job again spanning that lore in a smart way that makes sense. And much as that, we have a spinoff show with characters, even though it's based off The Boys comics, but there's also some creative liberties of characters and storylines that they take liberations with, but they do create very good material that's interesting, even though that we have the main entree, which is The Boys season 5 approaching next year. You have a lot of meat here in terms of the characters you have here, such as Marie, especially how last season ended off with the cliffhanger with Homelander showing up, all of them getting locked up, and you follow up there in terms of that this is a different dynamic in terms of these friends and these people, because they now have shared a traumatic experience, and much as the craziness of this boy's world, they have shared a very traumatic experience over the summer, because now we're in sophomore year in Godolkin University with these people. But you also get different dynamics again with Jordan, with Emma, with Kate as well, Sam, those characters that are broken. All of them have their layers with their that they are very multidimensional in terms of what they have established, and this season expands on that, even to characters, having their motivations change. Like, some characters start out becoming, villains, and now it's like, what? All right, I know I did some bad things, but this is not what I want to do. I was just messed up. I was used, right? And now you also just relate to it just as, being a person in college. Like, I graduated college. It's like, yeah, sophomore year wasn't the best. And again, it's like you're still trying to figure stuff out, figure out who you are. And I think they definitely highlight that theme in this particular season, again, of just like, hey, you think season one was, freshman year was just a mess. Like, no, sophomore year is even more crazier. But in terms of this entire season, what was just one character or several characters that stood out for you?
Well, one of them has to be Emma, because it's like, again, last season for her, she was dealing with, her how she was being viewed by many of the people on campus. But again, going back to Andre, he gave her that motivation in the first season, to the fact it's like she's very much evolved in between first season and now, to where now she's since trying to be a disruptor, and trying to get back at Godolkin in some way, and teaming up with Andre's father. It's very much different from like the party girl, trying to look good for clicks, or trying to, fit in from season one, versus now where it's like, she's not even really part of the Guardians of Godolkin, but again,
Right.
she's off doing her own stuff while still being heavily involved in the main plot of the series. So she is definitely like evolved in my eyes. And also another one that I would say is Sam, because it's like, without giving too much away, he doesn't have the protective barriers that he had at the end of the first season. And so now he's really becoming vulnerable in the state of like what happened in the first season, what happened when he and Kate showed up last season in The Boys, and what they did there, as well as like what has happened so far within like we're definitely starting to see like the feeling of sympathy and him actually getting his human emotions back in check, and also really in a therapeutic way, in a very weird therapeutic way, come to terms with who he is as a person.
I'm glad you mentioned Sam, because again, on paper, yeah, this person does, have a lot of mental issues and everything like that. But just think of it as a realistic sense. Of like, some people think, oh, maybe this, compound V was the reason why this person became the way they were. But sometimes mental illness is in bloodlines, and and much as he's trying to figure out, he made a lot of mistakes, but he's also trying to, recover from that and trying to figure out like, hey, I haven't done the best things, most of my life. But I'm trying to figure this stuff out. In this season, you definitely see that his motivations change as he's trying to become more whole as a person, especially, after the death of his brother, and everything. But I will say, for me, one of the main standouts for this season definitely was Marie. Definitely one of my favorite characters came out season one. But she and you take this character into a more independent route this season, as everything has kind of been put on her. And in terms of her importance as a character, as a person, when especially her backstory of her parents, and you get more understanding of like how she came to be as a character, how she get her powers and everything, with the blood bending and everything. And they expand on that. Like, Marie has become way more powerful in this season in very creative ways, that definitely will have drastic consequences for not only the rest of the season, but for, I believe, in the rest of the Boys universe, in terms of her importance to the overall story. And again, they expand more about her family, especially her sister as well. And I think they definitely do give closure to some of the story beats, because we don't really see her sister all until like from season one, until like her origin story and everything. But that plot would definitely come to play and everything in this season. But another one stand out to me really was Cypher, the new dean of Godolkin. He's a very interesting character. We don't know much about him. Now over of course the episodes, you will understand more about him and his motivations. But what I like with this is that how the boys is settled in terms of creating expectations and kind of having build up to have certain scenes and information pay off, in terms of like who in the reveal of who these characters are. And they're very smart with this character Cypher. And unlike the boys where people say that, you get more inspiration from maybe the Justice League or the Avengers or whatever, of a parody of them. In this, you definitely get a more of a inspiration from X-Men, but more particularly New Mutants, and you'll see elements of that. Even when it comes to certain themes like apocalypse, like the strongest will prevail. It's not about mutant and human. It's about who's the strongest mutant, and get rid of the weak ones. Like those themes like that expand in the rest of the season. And again, these are young heroes trying to develop their powers, pushing their powers, like a Professor Xavier pushing it. But and I don't even want to say Magneto, even though you have Polaris, who is like a Magnegro, whatever. But yes, it's I had to do it. I had to do it. Somebody had made a joke. But yes, he just doesn't have a helmet. But yes, but aside from that, there definitely is a lot of X-Men themes in this season that I really enjoy. Now, on top of that, I will say this: the action. Now, they do a very smart thing in terms of the randomness of the boys. You have a lot of sexual nature, you have a lot of drugs, you're on the college campus too. And I'm telling you, you think that this show is gonna go light on some stuff? No, it doesn't. I think by the time
nope.
Like Peacemaker's still out right now, I guess. And this show reminds you, hey, we're still in the boys universe. It's craziness going on. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of penises. Like it's buttholes. But like I don't mean,
don't remind me of that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just the first 3 episodes, y'all. They just the booty hole. It's a booty hole. No, but anyway, aside from that, I would say, J. King, what would you give in terms of non-spoiler? Use your final thoughts in terms of this entire season, and will you kind of give a ranking out of 10?
You guys are not prepared for what they're about to, again, not just with these first 3 episodes, but with the whole show. You are not prepared for where Gen V is going to be taking you, both for what these characters have to offer and what we got left for the boys universe. But overall rating, I would give it so far with these first 3 an 8 out of 10, because it is still really good. A lot of the things that they are having to handle from last season and from real life, they're handling it in the best way that they can. Again, you guys will see what they got going on with the rest of these episodes going forward, but so far we're definitely back in preparing for the end of the boys universe with Gen V.
I will say, after episode 3, again, there's certain pacing, obviously with any show that might have some pacing issues and stuff like that, but you are invested in terms of, the overall season. I don't feel there's any episode in this show, in this particular season, that's a filler. Like, I don't feel like there was a waste of time. I think it's just more craziness and more answers get revealed, and also more questions that you start up asking, it's like, wait, how did this happen? Wait, what? And definitely when they go into episode 7, they do a very good job in terms of setting up, the finale of this particular season of this sector in the boys universe, because the story is not over in the final episode, in episode 8. This is definitely a setup season, and you're going to see those building blocks come in. Now, I'm just going to give you, this is not even a spoiler, I don't even know if there's going to be a Gen V season 3. It just in terms of what they do here, again, as they're very much connecting Gen V and the boys storyline into one. And I think, again, a lot of stuff going to be wrapped up in the boys season 5. And and I think, again, you guys going to have some great content coming for this year. Definitely some of the best, writing for superhero television, this year, because in other properties, it has not been the best year. But here I will say that, this definitely delivers. Again, reminds you that the boys Prime Video, this universe, you get great storytelling amongst craziness, action, blood, sex, gore, all of it and everything. All of your appetites will be fulfilled in this season. Make sure you subscribe button, comment, like, and share. When you guys go see Gen V season 2, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And make sure you hit notification bell, as we'll be giving reviews on each episode week by week, and our all full spoiler review of Gen V season 2. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.